Your clothes, give them to me. Wash day tomorrow, nothing clean, right? Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. It's a special day for me because I read a book. Can you believe that? I read a book. It's a novelization for one of my all-time favorite movies. I've got a lot of movies that I really love, movies that are special to me. I have to say my very favorite movie of all time, The Good, The Bad, The Ugly. Anyway, The Terminator is one that is special to me. I saw it as a kid. It scared the living daylights out of me, and it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, who I was a big fan of, as a product of the 80s, growing up in the 80s. But I read a novelization for that movie that I do truly love called The Terminator. Ever hear of it? The Terminator, a novel by Randall Frakes and Bill Wisher, based on the screenplay by James Cameron with Gale and Heard. And you can see there the cover featuring the iconic image from the movie. And there is the back of the book for those of you who are interested. But I'm a fan of movie novelizations. Now, some of them are bad and not really, frankly, worth reading. But some of them are fabulous, phenomenal. And at their best, movie novelizations help make the movie better. They tell the story that the movie tells, and they add exposition, inner dialogue. They answer questions that you may be asking that weren't answered in the film. They give extra stuff, extra scenes. Some of them, like in the case of Halloween, they give the backstory that was never told in the movie, and maybe even the author makes up some stuff on their own, which seemed at times to be the case with quite a few novelizations. But this one is something different. This one is something special. This is a movie novelization that I'm going to say, as much as I love the movie, is better than the movie. I said it. I mean it. I'm not lying. It's just my opinion. And I say that in about the same way that I say that the book, The Godfather by Mario Puzo, was better than the movie. The movie was phenomenal. The movie was about as good as it could possibly have been, basing it on that book. I say the book was better because you get all the stuff from the movie, plus you get some extra explanations of the characters in the film. And this, going the opposite, this is based on the screenplay for the movie. And I say this is better than the movie as much as I love that movie, because not only does it give me everything that the movie gave me, a great story, and it's told pretty much frame for frame how the movie went, except for the fact that it gives so much extra. It does so much explaining of the characters in the film. It does from minor characters like the garbage man at the very beginning of the movie, or the punks at the very beginning of the movie, or Matt, or Ginger. The Ginger's not a minor, she's more like a medium character. But then more of the backstory of some of the major characters, like Sarah Connor and like Kyle Reese. You get extra stuff about the cops. You get all sorts of extra information. You get some of that inner dialogue from the Terminator himself, from Kyle Reese, his inner dialogue, the explanations on why he said the things he said and acted the way he acted, how he thought and felt, and how his thoughts and feelings changed as the time with Sarah Connor went on. But this is probably the one novelization. There's others, there's more, but it is one of the novelizations that I say you gotta read. You gotta read. Don't let the fact that novelizations often aren't very good sway you, or the fact that you've seen the movie a million times sway you. I've seen the movie a million times. I read the book a few weeks ago. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while, but I finally got around to reading it. And it's one that I'd say if you ever even thought this movie was worth watching, you gotta read the book. It's better, believe it or not. And so when I say it's better, again, it's because not only does it give me everything the movie gives me, but it gives me extra. It gives me the backgrounds, and it helps to fill in some of the blanks. It helps to make some of the stuff make more sense. And so the story goes just like the movie goes. I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs of the story, but I will tell you some of the extra stuff that is in there. I talked about the exposition, explanations of some of these things, the inner dialogue on so many characters. But just to start, the movie starts with a guy driving a garbage truck. In the movie, it's a guy driving a garbage truck. He has a couple little lines. He gets scared to death by a Terminator appearing out of nowhere, and his role is over. In the book, you not only find out why he's driving this garbage truck, you find out about his background as a football player, the injury, the divorce. You find out about his encounter with the punks that you'll see Arnold take their clothes and kill them. His experience with them. And then when he's running from the Terminator, he runs into the punks and he thinks, I need to warn these guys. And he's like, screw them. What they just did to me, it's not worth it, and lets them go. And the fact that he's one of the few that survives the encounter with the Terminator. The punks themselves, you get a little bit before what you see there at the observatory. You get some of their little inside stuff, what they're thinking, what they're doing. So it gives you so much. Kyle Reese. When Kyle Reese shows up, he explains the pain, how it feels, what parts of his body hurt. His interaction with the homeless guy, what the homeless guy was thinking, why the homeless guy gave up his clothes, and what he saw in Kyle Reese's eyes. He saw a young guy, but he saw an old man's eyes. And you get some of this stuff that helps, little pieces as you go, that help to build the characters more. And so things like that are what makes this novelization better. This novelization goes quite a while before you really get into the meat of the matter of the Terminator and Kyle Reese. It's like many great novels. They build it. They build this book. They build this story. The novelization does that very well. And after Kyle Reese gets the homeless man's pants, you figure out what they smell like. It tells you all about it. But he's being chased by the cops. One of the cops has a Smith & Wesson Chief Special chambered in .38 Super, which is not really a thing for a revolver to be chambered in. But Kyle Reese ends up with this gun. You get the cops' inner thoughts. You find out how Kyle Reese gets the clothes, how important shoes are in his world. He is amazed by how easy and how plentiful things are in this time. You also get a little more background, a little more understanding of, in different parts of the book, his relationship with John Connor, how John Connor picked him seemingly randomly to be on his private security team. You later find out more about how he's sent back in time and stuff like that. And by the way, related note, Terminator 2, a great novelization by the same guy, also really goes deep into that, deep into John Connor and Kyle Reese, and you don't get that stuff in the movie. So it really, both books, absolutely phenomenal. But this is about the Terminator. Also, Sarah Connor, very important character, I think. The movie gives us you get a snapshot of what Sarah Connor's like. In the book, again, it goes back into her life a little bit, her relationship with her mother, her relationship with Ginger, how she compares previous dates that she'd had, trouble that she has paying the bills, how committed she is to trying to get the bills paid, but she's not making the money, the troubles that she has on her job, with her scooter, with guys, a lot of this stuff. Her relationship with Ginger is spelled out, and it's shown to be a very good one. In the movie, it kind of seemed like, what the heck are these two girls doing together? Just, I guess they need a roommate. In the book, they really are good friends. They really take care of each other and look out for each other. Close relationship. Sarah and Matt, or as she calls them later on, Bunky. She finds out in the book, you find out why she calls him Bunky. Seemed like a weird name, random name, where it came from. Matt's job as a personal trainer, and how Ginger and Sarah would go visit him at the gym and make fun of him, how he acts towards the people he's training, and some of the goofing off that Ginger does there. So these characters in the book are more important. They're more personal. You get to know them better. You get to care more about them. And that's one of the things that a great book does. It gives you great characters. It makes you care about them. So that's part of what I think makes this book so good. There's a couple of scenes that are kind of throwaway in the book, but they help to add a little bit again to understanding these characters. Kyle Reese smells pizza, sees people ordering a pizza. He has no money to pay for the pizza. He's never tasted it before, but they can't get the thought out of his mind smelling that thing. And so he watches people go up, order this pizza, pay, walk off. He listens to what they ask for, what they do. He gets the idea. He walks up, orders the pizza word for word, exactly like the guy before him did. The guy puts the pizza down, turns around, Kyle Reese runs off with the pizza. You get more about the dogs. We understand in the future world how important the dogs are. The movie just kind of offhandedly mentions that they use them to spot Terminators. In the book, it really talks about how important the dogs are to Kyle and to the people of his time. Things like it's considered a crime to let a dog go hungry when you've got food. And he shares his pizza with a dog because dogs are just that special to them in the future. And it also talks about how he would see a dog and he would try to pass the dog test by letting the dog sniff him and making friends with the dog. He uses the dogs in this book, again, to help make sure that they spot the Terminators, and the dog gives them warning at least, I think, a couple times in this book when the Terminator is near. There's also kind of a fun scene, or a fun part of the book. I guess it's not a scene if it's in a book, where the Terminator has got him a car, and he's trying to learn to drive. And even though he's a computer and all that stuff, he doesn't have files on all the driving rules and how traffic works and things like that in 1984. But he figures it out after a little trouble. By the way, if you're a cop and somebody takes your gun, puts it in your face, and says, "What year?" just tell them what year. Don't screw around. If a guy is crazy enough, doesn't know what year it is, and he's got your gun in your face, just tell him what year. Also in the book, after Arnold gets him a car, he first goes to a hardware store. Interesting, it wasn't in the movie. He goes to a hardware store later on in the film, you'll see him using things like a scalpel. He has supplies. He goes to a hardware store. He gets his supplies the way Terminators get their supplies. He goes to the gun store, and you get the inner dialogue from the gun shop owner. And that one was really cool, Rob, and how he ended up moving to California and owning a gun shop. And a little bit about what he's thinking as Arnold is ordering or asking to see all these guns. It's a much better scene. Again, it's just a little extra stuff that makes every step of the way for this book, to me, better than the movie. In the movie, Sarah goes to work and she's busy and she can't keep up. She's a little bit late. It kind of glosses over all that. She spills water on a guy's jacket. It's not real leather, is it? Kid puts ice cream in her apron and the guy says, "I should give you the tip." And that's all in the book. But there's so much more. Her day was rough. It started out rough from the get-go. So she ran out of gas. She had a flat tire. She shows up really late. Her boss is a real jerk. He's a dork, a punk kid running a business as a manager, treating people like trash. And so she really is having a bad day, and it only gets worse from there. You find out a little bit more about the iguana Pugsley, where he came from and why he's kind of special to Sarah. There is a neat thing in there. As the Terminator is killing Sarah Connors, as he finds them in the phone book, there's a spot where he'll kill one of them, and he takes an X-Acto knife and he'll cut open the leg from ankle to knee, and he's looking for something. It tells you that he's looking for something. It doesn't spell it out until later in the book. So I won't tell you what that is either, but it's something that wasn't in the movie and a neat little addition there. But I could go on and on. There's all sorts of differences, things that were added, I want to say, not different, but things that were added. And the Terminator novelization is great. It is terrific, and I can only say that so many times. Terminator 2, fabulous, every bit as good. Now, I don't think the story of Terminator 2, I don't like it as much as the story of the Terminator. So I would say this book is better than Terminator 2, only because I like this story itself better. But Terminator 2, as a novelization, comparing it to the movie, which I also very much love, that novelization is better than Terminator 2, more so than this novelization is better than the Terminator. That novelization adds some very, very important stuff. But anyway, I strongly recommend, if you ever had any interest in the Terminator, that you read this novelization. It's not easy to get, but I bought this one on eBay, so I'm sure you can too. I recommend you find it, buy it, read it, collect it, love it. It was a great one. In terms of novelizations, again, a lot of people don't like them. I understand why. I collect novelizations of movies that I really dig. And some of them are great and some of them are not so great. This, I want to say, is probably the best I've ever read. This one, Terminator 2, The Omen, that one was awesome. And there's a lot of them that I love, but in terms of just saying great book all by itself, and how it would stack up against other great books from the greats, there are a few that I would say are there. This is one of them. This is a great book, period. The fact that it's a movie novelization notwithstanding. I compare it with so many other great books. One of my favorites, I might add. I got a lot of favorites, so that's not too hard of an accomplishment. But when I rate this book, it is 5 stars out of 5 stars, without hesitation, without reservation. So The Terminator, a novel by Randall Frakes and Bill Wisher, tops. I love it. Anyway, I can think of no more lies to tell. Thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. C'est la vie, baby. Doo-doo. By the way,
hey Doc, 2 more going on yours.